Good morning, guys. Today we are going to learn how to make a seat cushion. This is actually more like a bench cushion. The measurement is 42 by 19, so I cut it at 43 by 20. So I gave myself a half an inch allowance, which means a half inch on top, a half inch on bottom, a half an inch on each side. What you're gonna need is two zipper borders, two pieces for the zipper borders. My border is 1.5, so I'm cutting all my borders at 2.5, giving myself a half an inch seam allowance on each side. So for the back, I'm gonna cut two pieces of 43, and then what I did is press this close together in the middle for my zipper borders, and this is what I'm gonna have for my zipper borders, two. And then we need another piece, 2.5. I cut it at 90, so it's enough for all sides, both sides, and the center of my cushion. That's my whole border. And this is what the cushion is gonna look when it's all done. This is the zipper border, goes on the back, and this is the actual border. It goes all around, side, front, and another side. Okay, now we're gonna start preparing our zipper border. Like I said, this is a 2.5 border. I have pressed this in half, so I have two pieces like this. This is what's gonna be my zipper border. What I do is I put face to face, and I'm gonna follow my crease line, and I'm gonna go about 1.5 inches down. About 1.5 inches down here on one end, and then same thing on the other side. This will be the other end. My crease line is here. I'm gonna go about 1.5 inches down. I'm gonna sew it together right in the middle. Tack it so it doesn't open. Same thing on the other end. So this is what you're gonna have. This is the way it's gonna look on both ends. And this is where my zipper is gonna be. Since we always do like so many cushions, and we don't always know the sizes, we usually get this roll of zipper, and we use the tan for warm colors and the black for dark colors or gray. We have a few colors. So my whole back is 43. I'm gonna cut my zipper at 43. I can cut it at actually 44. It doesn't matter, but then we can cut whatever is extra. You don't want to cut it too small. And then you open one end. I'm gonna insert the pull. And that's my zipper I'm gonna use for my border. So what I'll do is I'll lay the zipper right in the middle. As you can see over here, let me just put it a little closer. So I'm gonna put my zipper right in the middle. I go up about 3/4 inch, and then I'll start joining one side of the zipper. If you guys want, sometimes it depends on the fabrics. Sometimes they tend to pull, like this attachment tends to pull the fabric down. So what I do sometimes, if the fabric is too like stretchy, I just pin it every 2 or 3 inches so it doesn't move. And you're gonna start sewing about 1/4 inch to the side. don't know if you can see it. Here, you can see it. Yeah, I like to pin it because this fabric, it's a little stretchy. So you have about 1/4 of an inch from the border of your fabric to where you're sewing. I'm gonna pull this up. When you get to the end, you're gonna turn around. I always like to leave the needle inside when I turn my fabric so it doesn't move. And over here, I'm just gonna tack it twice or 3 times so I secure the end of my zipper. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm just gonna cover whatever, the rest of whatever is not covered of the zipper. When I get to the other end, I do the same thing. Nice tag. You can cut your threads. And here you can cut the excess of the zipper. And this is the border you're gonna get. That's gonna be the back of your cushion. All right. Once you have your zipper border done, you're going to join the long border we cut before. I cut it at about 90 just to give myself a little extra. So this is the rest of my border. I'm gonna join it to one of the ends of my zipper border. Like I said before, I gave myself a 1/2 inch allowance, so that's my 1/2 inch mark. I go in 1/2 inch, sew them together, and I can start applying this border to my actual cushion. So what I like to do, so it's easier for me, I like to fold the border in 2 and give myself a center mark on both sides, up and down. This is my center. So now I know where my center is. What I do with my fabric here, I would also mark the center I'm gonna mark the center of my bag. So what I do here, I start from my center, and you can actually use a regular attachment here because this was the one for the zipper, so now I'm just gonna use the regular. Here I like to start from the center, and I like to sew from the top part, not the border part, but the actual cushion side. This is 1/2 inch tag, and then we're gonna start going all the way around. Here, before you get to your corner, right where the seam is, you're gonna notch it about 3/8 so you can have a nice and sharp corner. And when you get there, a 1/2 inch before you get to your corner, I like to tack my corners so they're more secure. I lift the needle in and I'm gonna turn the fabric, but the border stays there. I'm gonna tack it and continue going. And this is what you're gonna have. This is gonna be your corner, back corner. Corner, a 1/2 inch before the actual corner, you're gonna give it a little notch like this. I like to leave my needle in, turn, and the border stays still on the bottom. Tack it again, and I keep going. And you'll do the same thing with all 4 corners. This will be my front corner. We like it to be very nice and straight. So like I said before, I gave myself a little extra on the border. So what I'll do is, before I get to my corner, I just cut it exact to where the end of my cushion is. And I'm gonna join it to the other side of the zipper border. Face and face. Face need to face and face of the fabric. Then you join the border at 1/2 inch allowance. And we go all the way to the end. Again, we're gonna notch our border. I like to leave this side of the seam towards the front, because if I put it towards the zipper, it's just too much fabric altogether. So I like to leave that towards the front. I reach the corner, lift the needle in, turn around, continue with my zipper border. So that's one side of my cushion already done. And you can do this for every shape of cushion that you want to make. So this is half of my cushion already done. And what I like to do here, now that I know where my corners are gonna fall, I'm gonna notch all my corners. Here I'm gonna follow the same notch I did on every corner, like that. I'm gonna follow the line. So when I sew my top of the cushion, I line up the corners, and it's not like one here and one there. It looks weird. So I like to line up all my corners. Line up all your corners like that. Give yourself a little notch, like 3/8. This is my zipper border corner. That's it. And then I'll bring my top side of the cushion. When I'm working with velvet, I usually mark my bottoms because they all have to be the same. When you turn them around, the color changes, so you have to be very careful. That's why I always mark my bottoms. And when you're doing prints, you also have to make sure the pattern is on the right direction in your cushion. So always mark your bottoms or where your zipper is gonna go. I'll do the same thing here. I'll mark the center of my back, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. This is the center of my cushion, And this is the center of my fabric. Face and face need to be facing. Face of my fabric, face of the fabric. Start from the center, and then you go around, same way you did with the first side. When you're done with all 4 sides, what I like to do here also is to cut a little bit of the excess of fabric on every corner, so when you turn it inside out, it's not so bulky. So we're gonna do that with all 8 corners. Okay guys, so after you clean your corners, you just have to make sure you push them inside out so you get a nice and sharp corner. So these are going to be your corners with your water, and then you can just turn your cushion inside out and it'll be all finished. And this is the way it looks when it's all done. It's all done. This is your zipper border. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.